YouTube, it's been a hot minute since we've done these reviews, but you know I'm always down, and this time I got a very special guest, Jeremy Jpham, aka TempestDays. Jeremy, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Playstyle, we just locked in the legend. How many times have you been legend? And then we'll get a few more questions after you answer those.
Yes, so I'm a first-time legend, season 9, first-time legend.
Really?
Yeah. I've farmed Banshee since the summer of 2019. So game came out 2018 around like August. And then I farmed a bit of Wyvern there. And then Dizzy came out, right? And I was like, dang, this character looks like it's a good counter set unit. And then so it just spirals out of control from there.
That's how it started. Wait, so you're pretty much day one player?
Yes, I should be a day one player.
And almost pretty much also technically a full-time Banshee player as well.
Yes.
All right.
I think I farmed Wyvern like one hunt buff.
My man, dude. The Banshee mains are coming out strong. So Dizzy was kind of what got you started. So you're a counter player, I'm assuming, and I've played you a few times, so I know. But for the people, you're more of a turn 2 player, standard? What would you call it?
Yeah, turn 2 standard players.
Okay. So we're tanky guys. We got the counter, Banshee sets, effect resist sets, I'm assuming, lifesteal sets. I can't wait to see it. Jeremy, favorite units before we start? Both looks-wise? Yeah, give me 2 categories. First one, looks-wise. Second, favorite unit that got you to legend.
They're all going to be Destina. I'm just gonna
it's all Destina for everything?
For me, yeah. I think she was the backbone of my team.
And you just like her looks too?
Oh yeah, I've always liked Destina since day one. First banner, I got her, and then it was just good from there.
Okay, he's dedicated. All right, so Jeremy, let's just start from the top, and I'll just go through each unit. You can tell me if they're not being used, if you want me to skip any, and yeah, we'll just talk a little bit about your experience in this last legend climb, if you want to give any info on the unit, etc. Yeah?
Oh, that sounds good.
All right, boys, start from the top. We got the Briar Witch, the Briceria. I'm actually curious to hear your take on Briceria as a counter turn 2 player on this last season.
This is actually one of my pre-bans after her buff.
Yeah. What was your pre-bans? What were both of them?
So before she got buffed, it was always going to be Stene, and then it was either Lua or C. Lilius before the buff.
Right? So at the end, it was Stene and Briceria?
Yes.
Got it. So you didn't use her at all on your climb?
No, not at all. I did change my pre-bans a bit last week. I was in the trenches while everyone else was climbing, so I had to change something up.
What helped you? What did you change?
It's still gonna be it was still Stene, and then it was C. Lilius, a little bit of Pirate Captain because I kept dying to her, and then I ultimately switched back to Briar, which because I just couldn't change anything really.
Yeah, that's my experience too. I was going between AOL, Briceria, and Silius, with Steny always being banned. Yeah. Okay. Jay, I'm excited. Dude, I'm actually super excited to hear Jeremy's thoughts on all these. Celine, Jeremy, as a Banshee player. What was your take on her?
Celine's actually not that bad. I can't say that she's great because people in my guild are going to start flaming me.
Your guild would say she's bad?
Yeah, okay, so we got Wind Demon, we got Derp saying that she's bad.
Shout out to the boys.
All good.
They're wilding out in the chat. Yeah.
So I think I started utilizing Celine more often when Winter came out, actually.
Okay.
I used and also Pirate Captain, so yes. Valky's in the chat, see you. So usually we haven't gotten to our Destina yet, so I can't really emphasize more on that, but I have Destina on immunity.
Let's jump to that right now, right after the Celine take. Jay, we can look if she's going to be kind of the foundation. A lot of your stuff is built with her. We can look at her real quick.
Yeah, that sounds good. So Celine would primarily be the target to kill Pirate Flans or Winters, or people who would spam first pick, second pick, AOL hand guy. Right. Yeah. She doesn't really work. I noticed in the last week she doesn't really work against C. Lilius because she would provide vigor buff, and then she could also just provoke her after. So I started not picking Celine as much if they first pick C. Lilius, but I do think that she was really great into Pirate Flan spammers, and then people who wanted to pick Winter into me.
Got it. So you had like a niche spot you found good success in. My experience, Jeremy, was like a lot of chat. They're saying she's not that great. I think it depends, but yeah. I had trouble using her, but I'm glad maybe I'll give it a chance. You said winters and flans, right? Was your main thing?
Winters and flans.
All right, boys.
My EE is the highest attack.
Oh,
because
I thought I showed. Here you go. Yeah, he's on the. Yeah, you want to talk about this real quick? The EE.
Yeah. So I believe there was a period in meta, or not the meta, but the season. People were spamming like Melissas, and then people were spamming Says because they got buffed. You know, all the hype units, bad units. So I was on stealth for a little bit, right? But then they leaned off of that, and then Pirate Flan Winter came out, and then I just switched back to increased damage.
Got it.
You usually just data snipes their DPS out.
I like that tech. Okay, let's look at the Destina real quick. So Jay, this is your favorite unit, and also the one that gave you the most success climbing, yeah?
Yes. Can you turn the self-imprint on?
Yes. He'll show the full stats. There we go. And we got the 24 unfading memories. The EE is the increased combat readiness. And I'll show the stats. Go ahead and talk about her.
All right. So this is usually my second pick. If I do have first pick, I would pick mitigation. Destina is just here to be a reviver, cleanser, and then also like a tempo pusher, like a Amelia without the attack buff on the S2. She's on immunity because Pyroflame again just started coming out of nowhere, right? After her buff strips, the stat stick, 50 effectiveness, it was just way too much, right? So I opted to go for unfading for a little bit more ER. And then I put on immunity so that she gets punished with Celine if she decides to S1 and try to steal a buff, because she will proc her, what is it? The non-attack skill, right? She shoots her gun in the air, and then Celine will.
Yeah, the little CR push, yep.
Yeah, so if she S3,
a very specific tech, yeah.
So Pirate Captain Flan S3 is my Destina is safe because she has immunity, right? Some freaks out there have like 260 effectiveness on their Pirate Flans. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, those freaks out there for sure.
Yeah, so she's just on immunity. Counter's just there because I know I'm a Banshee gamer, right? So
love it. So yeah, the build might seem a little weird, guys. One, who's on immunity nowadays, especially on a unit like Destina. Two, on counter, usually you have like Celestine, but Jeremy said he wanted the extra effectiveness, so it's a lot of his units, you can already tell, right? The Celine, the Destina, very tailored for specific encounters for his exact kind of style, which is, it works for him. It may not work for y'all if you try to copy it, but yeah, obviously, guys, he has the frame and the legend to back it up. So this, Jeremy, moving forward, though, do you think you're going to keep this for a while?
We'll see where the meta goes. I do see a lot of people saying that the tank stats are a little low.
But guys, he's on counter immunity, right? So if you're on a different set, that gives just way more free stats. This is honestly, to me, I'm not a gear score Andy, but Jeremy, do you know like the average gear score on these pieces? It looks good to me.
I actually don't use dribbles.
My man, dude, my man. All right.
so if you guys think you can build a better Destina, please go have at it.
Jeremy, that's what I'm trying to tell them. If you're on speed set, guys, you're getting so many free stats. And then also your 2-piece set, if you're on like effect resist, right? There's so many more stats y'all are getting. He's still at 193 on counter with everything else still relevant. It looks good to me, but anyone that wants to break down the fribbles, you guys can or whatever.
Yes, all right. I don't have any like gear score boosts and anything like that.
Damn, all right. Man after my own heart. Okay, so let's take it from the top again. Now we're at the Aiden. We're on the the Moonlight Dreamblade. Was this because we want to proc the attack up? Or is this because
the attack up's pretty good?
Did we use her only in did we use her only in anti-cleave or was it just in general purpose?
She's a good third pick since I banned Briar, right? She gets the increased attack, right? Or increased hit chance.
Sure.
So if I feel like they're going a little aggressive, my third picks do vary. And so I would pick Aiden from time to time.
Okay. Got it.
She's on lifesteal just because it's Banshee, right? I could go destruction set, but I feel like the lifesteal from the AoE attack is pretty nice.
Did that help you out a lot?
I did manage to 1v2 like a Bellion and an Aria because I had lifesteal on. I think Valk saw it. It was pretty wild.
Repeat that part again. You did what against the Bellion?
It was a 1v2, so
Oh.
my Aiden was the last one standing. It was a Bellion versus the Aria, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people in the call because it was like last week or something like that. And then everyone thought I was lost because it was obviously a 1v2, right? It's pretty hard for Aiden to win a 1v2 or even a 1v3.
For sure.
And
Even
then,
if she dodges, she's gonna get chipped down.
Yeah, so people think they can just chip down Aiden's, but like when you have lifesteal and you can do the AoE counterattack, she does heal quite a lot.
All right. Well, guys, I'm already seeing a bunch of like unorthodox builds. Right? I think most of us here are probably on destruction. I'm on destruction as well, just for the extra damage. But yeah, he's saying that lifesteal actually won him some certain matchups, just like his other units. All right. Next unit, we got the Sylvan B rank imprint only. Oh, Jeremy, if you don't mind, can we ask how much of a free to play versus whale are you? Where in the spectrum do you lie?
I think the only time that I did spend, it wasn't even for like a PvP unit. It was like the really old rank up pack. By the way, okay, Wendy. It was for Tamarin, and this was right when Pity got announced, and they reran Tamarin, I think. So I bought like one rank up pack for Tamarin. I didn't even get her, by the way.
So pretty much like free to play.
Very
low spender, right?
Yeah, it's out of the bag, everyone. Okay, it's out of the bag. I'm a whale. My bad.
All right, let's look at the stat line here. We have a purple piece, boys. Legend player with purple gear. 30 chatty. Jeremy, the bulk's a little low though for a Banshee player, no?
I don't really draft Sylvan Sage as much as most of my peers did.
Okay. What was your findings with her? Why did you not like her that much?
I just didn't like that Solitaria could just exist on the board, and then I would have to post ban her, right? Because she full counters her stacks, and I just don't like that I have to operate with stacks like that. Or it's not my type of style, right? There is one exception, that's Milim, but we'll get next to that.
Okay. Yeah, I love Milim too. All right. Next up we got the Arowell, and you mentioned your first pick is usually mitigation. Is this your top mitigation pick if you have a choice? I know there's another one you like to pick too.
First pick, I will pick Arowell without question, right?
Okay.
But if they start going more aggro, I'll obviously tank down with the Arowell. Hopefully they don't strip my escort, because if she doesn't have escort, right, she doesn't have Aureus. But if they are first pick and they first pick C Lilius or anything like aggro like cleave, I would go with Carmen, because Carmen doesn't necessarily need escort to have her mitigation work, right?
Yeah. My experience is the same. So can you talk to us a little bit about, you went for the adamant shield, and Arowell can run so many different types of arties. You just like the adamant just for the extra mitigation? It's just simple, no need to think about it, always gives some benefits?
Yeah, adamant I think is the best in slot. Some could argue, there's one person that says that Aria, you can go Arius on Arowell, and then escort, then she'll still have damage mitigation, but I think that adamant is best in slot. If you go high lag, I guess I can see it working, because if you start stunning everyone, right, and you're gonna get that you're gonna get that skill 3 up pretty early again.
Okay. Yeah, I swapped. I used to be on adamant. I actually went for bastion, but that's more of I'm trying to build every unit with some ER. But Jeremy, the counter set. What was your findings with counter?
Counter is I think is the best slot, because her base speed is not that great. She doesn't benefit that much from speed set. But when you counter, right, you have a chance to dispel 2 buffs from the enemy if you do proc counter. And then you also get a little added healing on your S1.
Yep.
And CR bar too as well.
Yep. I like it too.
So I just think that's so much value, right? They start wailing on the Arowell, and then like she starts countering, she starts self-sustaining, she starts dispelling buffs from them.
I agree fully. I have the same findings. The one thing though is I think it was Kotick was telling us that he doesn't like counters much because you can just fit so many more stats. But yeah, I agree. I've had some great experience with counter, with the exception of players that just run a. Did you counter this at all, Jeremy? Just the Lionheart pickers that will just pick Lionheart without any dual attacks, counter attacks on the board.
Lionheart wasn't as big as an issue as I thought she would be in, because I think that if you third pick Lionheart, you just get heavy punished from picking like that.
Sure.
Because you got units like Rylet, you got units like Shu that can just ignore def.
Yeah, she just
right?
dies. She just dies.
Yeah, she just starts dying. So
Right.
that works in my favor, right? I was kind of scared of Lionheart picks.
So you don't even care if you proc her or not, right? Yeah, I got you.
No, I had some builds that could deal with Lionheart.
Sounds good. All right, next up, this is a unit you banned a lot. Ships, welcome on in. Pirate Captain Flan. Let's see the build here. We're on the artifact, of course. Immunity speed set. Artifact being, guys, of course, the Cesaria already with the bombs. Build, very high effectiveness, good bulk. How did you, since you banned her sometimes, was that correct, Jeremy?
I banned, it was like a phase. I did Stene Pirate, I did Stene Sea Lilius last week. But then I changed back to Briar, which...
When you didn't ban her, how often did you use her?
I did ban her a bit, but... yeah, so I used this against the Wind Demon, I think. We accidentally queued into each other. And then I was just kind of like a little angry because, you know, I kept dying to her. Because everyone starts spamming her. Because, you know, this unit's kind of unethical with the effectiveness.
Yeah, they just gave her free effectiveness for some reason, and then she can steal buffs too. But yeah, so you used her a little bit, and obviously it worked well.
I used her a little bit. I actually didn't like using her. I actually am a victim of 15%, as everyone else is, right? I just didn't like that. I can get killed just because they 15% me like that. Right?
Sure, I know that feeling.
No, it's a little it's a contradiction, right? I'm a counter set player, right? But then like I don't like getting 15%.
Well, I think we can get into that later. I think there is a distinction between relying on counters and then losing straight up to one, missed bomb. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, Rylet up next. We got a 21 Shepherd of Chaos, Shepherd of the Hollow. A lot of free gear here, Jeremy. The stat wise, what do we think, chat? Jeremy, how's your findings with the God's unit, Rylet?
He worked like 60-40% of the time.
Not 70-30?
No, not 70. Everyone wishes he worked 70-30.
It's lower, 60-40, huh?
Yeah, okay. It was more like 60-40.
And when would you bust this guy? How often would you say you picked him?
I don't really think I picked him as much. A lot of people picked him into me, which is kind of surprising, right? It was more of like a tank down standard style, like 2 Soul Weavers, a tank, and like Rylet, and then an additional DPS unit. Everyone's saying my attack's low, but I think the bulk's actually what keeps him alive.
Sure, that's what I told. Yeah, they criticized my attack. My attack was low too, but we got to get that bulk so that the 70-30 or 60-40, as Jeremy said, sometimes you don't dodge. But Jeremy, they're asking this chest. I think this is from Raid, isn't it?
Yes, that's Hell Raid. I think that's a pretty good piece of gear. So yeah, I don't know.
That's good. Okay, so didn't use too much, but he worked when he worked. Wanted that bulk, right?
Yes.
Next up, the Zeo and Ron Time Matter. All right, Jeremy, explain this one.
Okay, so Zeo is more of my 4 or 5 picks. If I wanted to speed up the game, like if they picked like Pirate Captain Flan on 3rd pick, I could just pick Zeo, right? Assuming they didn't pre-ban it, right? So I would use this to just start nuking down people that had like single target DPS drafts, or even like a fragile Pirate Captain Flan, right?
So you picked him quite a bit, you would say?
Yeah, so he pops off. If you build him like a bruiser, I think that's the best build. I think Effectiveness Zeo is a scam. It is the damn scam.
Well, Jeremy, it would be playstyle dependent, right? For the players that need to get that silence and then they capitalize on it. For you and me, we need that bulk where we're going for a little. Even though you're speeding up the match, we're trying to go for longevity, no?
Yeah, I think the bulk's just because if you don't build them bulk, an Aiden S3 is just gonna one shot them, right? What's the point of DFI other than the 50 crit, right? It just doesn't make any sense, right?
And then
so I do think that bulk is good.
Can you talk a little bit about the Time Matter?
Time Matter is just more to refresh his S3. You start getting like 1 or 2 kills, and then your DFI or your S3 is just back up again, right? You can do half damage to a tank. Wow. Or something like that.
So you actually had Zeo come back to skill 3 quite a few times?
Oh yeah, so
I kind of like that, guys.
One time I was going against an APOC,
yeah,
and then I've killed off one of the. I think I killed off like a Pirate Flan, And then I got my S3 back, and I just half HP the APOC. So it was pretty great.
Nice. Jeremy, I usually plan on, after the DFI, the match should be decided by then, but I might try that tech. That sounds really cool. All right. Anything else you want to say on Zio or not?
I did see Jello. If anyone doesn't know, Jello was on this review.
We did a review with Mr. Jello, right? Another Banshee man.
So Jello's build is I have to comment on this just because he's on destruction set, right? I saw that man one tap a DC from full HP. That was the craziest thing I've ever saw this season.
With a skill 1, right? The S1 into the follow.
Oh, can you show the ring? Everyone wants to see the ring.
Yeah, I'll show it again. This nasty ring, Jeremy. How do you feel, dude? How do you feel about that ring, man?
I believe that this ring was a 5 speed at the start, and then it got to 22.
That's rare.
Yeah.
5 speeders never roll well in my experience, man. Damn. Okay.
Why am I using it on him? Because there's no one else to use it on. I'm not a speed set, Andy.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, boys. Right, guys. We rolled a 20 earlier, and I'm like, I'm excited, but we'll see. All right.
Speed's like whatever. Right?
Tell him, dude. Talk to him. All right. AOL up next. We got the Proof of Valor. Now, Jeremy, you didn't mention you banned her ever, right?
Oh no, I let people pick her to me.
Okay, talk to me about that a little bit. What was your findings fighting her? Did you play her at all as well?
I think I've only 5th picked her. I think that any other pick on AOL, unless you have a specific agenda, is kind of a troll pick, right?
Okay.
So she enables my Celine, right? I have a good Destina build, right? So not a lot of AOLs have debuffed my Destina.
Sure.
So I just think that it's more of a liability on my opponent's side than if I were to take it, right?
So your Destina, did you have to bring a second cleanser though, right? Because if they ban the Destina, we're in a tough spot.
It would depend on the draft,
sure.
But I would have a second cleanser if it needed to be.
Okay. So you're more on the side of you'd rather deal with her. You don't mind fighting her.
No, I don't mind fighting her.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't like that I had to always draft a second cleanser, and she would kind of make the match feel just, she would force the draft in a certain way. But yeah, you just left her up. Okay. Any other tech when besides like the Destina when you're fighting her?
Other than the Celine, I would just draft Milim as well. Like my Milim is like probably my most picked 3rd pick. But most people would pick hand guy into AOL on their first 2 picks, right? Classic stuff like that. Usually 1 to 2 picks, they have like this certain combos, right? Celius, hand guy, Celius, or like A Ravi, hand guy AOL. Like it gets down to like a flow chart later down the season.
Sure. Okay, let's keep moving on. We got Spirit Eye Celine, and since you banned Briceria, did you get to play with this character at all?
I think I won a few matches with Spirit Eye Celine.
I'm assuming 5th pick, very rare, but sometimes if they just draft in a certain way, you could bust her out.
Yes, that's correct.
Sounds good.
She's not fully optimized, like because she's a 5th pick, right?
Yeah.
Usually 5th picks get banned, but she did pop off sometimes, so it's good to have her built, right?
Right. Can you give just an example scenario, Jeremy, for the people watching? Like, what kind of draft? It doesn't have to be perfect, but like an example draft of where you were able to pick her and she did well in.
So if people were to pick like APOC 2nd pick as their standard carry with like Celius, well, not really Celius, right? Because she can get
because she is the multiple, yeah.
Or like hand guy AOL or anything like that. If they don't have a means to kill Celine or Celine, whatever you want to call her, right? Then either she gets picked and then she gets banned, which is a free ban from you, and then you can decide what you want to do from there, or they let her through and she's an instant win because they can't kill her.
Exactly. So she has a million hard counters, guys. It's very hard to draft her, but there are still scenarios where you'll bust her out. They didn't draft it a way that can deal with her, and they either have to must ban her or she'll do really well, right, Jeremy?
Yep. It's better to have units like this built than not built at all, right? Because like if they call your bluff that you don't have this unit built or anything like that, then she's just dead and she doesn't do anything.
Sure. All right. Next up, we got the Senya. Only plus 15 already.
Oh, yeah.
The Spear of a New Dawn.
She's more of a 5th pick for aggro players. I picked her like twice as a 5th pick.
Okay.
Because when you play standard and you get to know the people in the season, right? They'll start to build counters around you, right?
Yeah.
Blue Kisei, believe it or not, was a pretty good high pick last week to me. So I would go ahead and pick this. I would have a little bit of ER, and then I would have a bit of effectiveness, and then I would let her 1v4 basically, because they don't have a means to cleanse the Senya. It's much like a Spirit Eye.
Sure. Your findings on, you ended up using the lifesteal EE, right? Did you ever swap back between these?
I think the lifesteal's the best, right? Because you're relying on your anti-crit to pop off, right? And if you get crit, right, you're basically dead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it a $150 with you guys.
Yep. It chunks you, yeah. Okay.
So, like, if you get the gab, sure, you're doing like max damage or whatever. Like, but if your Senya gets crit once, you're gonna go complain that, like, oh my god, my anti-crit didn't work. Like, I have no sustain, right? And then I'm dead.
Sure. All right. Anything else on Senya?
Not really. It wasn't my favorite pick, but she worked out.
All right. Wait, Jeremy, one question. Did the plus 15 free to play Artie ever lose you a match?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Because either their team was super squishy that her S1's just doing the damage.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered.
Or she just got killed out flat out, so.
Okay. I had I don't know if you have a Karina. Are we gonna see a Karina?
Yes, I think Karina is actually.
Her already not being max, Jeremy. That one actually lost me a match or two, and I was at 27, I think, guys. Okay, let's keep going down. We got the Adventure Roz. How often did you pick this knight?
I didn't really pick him at all. I think he's just an expo unit for now. I did have some trouble playing against some people that know how to play Aros with 2 DPS only draft, right?
Yeah.
His soul burn on his S2 just spirals out of control if you can't deal with that team as quick as you can.
Yeah, he's still good. But I also agree. I didn't really wait, Jeremy. We're slacking on these free to play enhancements, man. Did you pick him in his prime like a season or two ago, or you never been a Roz fan?
I don't believe I did.
Okay.
No.
At least you got
because I think back then FCC was like the main tank, right? There
was a time where I think Roz was one of the best, if not the best. But sure, if it wasn't your cup of tea, all right.
I think it was like G-Perk season that A-Ross was good.
Okay. We talked about the Destina. Let's look at the Aria now. So this is our Bastion holder.
My Aria. That's fine.
Wait, say that again?
People can roast my Aria. She's not that good. She's not built as good.
Yeah, I think we're missing a little defense there.
I got like 300 plus.
Speed's on point. We got a lot of ER with the Bastion, but yeah, our defense is a little lacking. But that being said, Jeremy, you're a legend. You locked in the legend. Did you pick her? Did she work?
She does work. She's also a 5th pick, right?
Yeah.
If they don't have any ways to reveal like AoE, like say A Robbie was a very good 2nd pick, right? So, but A Robbie can only do so much, right? She's only a single target hit, right?
Sure.
So if they don't have a means to break Aria's AoE stealth, then she just starts popping off on the team, right? And then same thing with like if someone was playing like A Ross, right? Like they're probably never gonna strip Aria with like their units.
Yeah.
And then A Ross just takes that big damage on like the AoE.
Yeah, you're on a crap ton of VR, especially with the Artie. That being said, guys, a lot of y'all were trying to roast this. The stats maybe are a little low, besides the ER, but if Jeremy makes it work in Legend, man, that's no excuse. If y'all are getting if y'all aren't doing as well with less or more stats, I should say, it may be a playstyle diff. Anything else on the Aria, Jay?
No, not really. She's either she won me the game or like she just got instant sniped out, which is that's fine.
What do you think about her looks wise?
It's a bit much, I think.
Yeah, Jeremy, you and I were we were on the same page for almost everything up till that point. All right, let's move on. So I still let's move on so I can still like Jeremy here. All right, researcher Carrot.
I didn't really pick her much. I did try to DDR with her, so that's why I gave her the effectiveness there.
Okay.
So she might have like 165.
How did that test work with the Death Dealer Ray?
It didn't work as good as that one.
Okay.
So I think this was before his buff. So I didn't really have a good taste with DDR.
Sure.
Launch, so.
Hopefully we'll get to we can talk about him a little bit. But yeah, not too much on the Carrot. You didn't really use her that much?
No, because people would be spamming AOL, right?
Yep.
I let them have AOL, right? So your S3 is gonna really be useless because she has an AoE cleanse, right? If you SD. So I just didn't really find a way to have Carrot work out as much as we could.
All right. Next up, we got the Faithless Lidica. This is so we got Broken Set, 290 Flid, and we're a Banshee gamer, Jeremy. You got to talk to us about this one.
Okay, so people will call me ML Jeremy because, like, you know, I don't usually play speed, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted to find a way to try and kill hand guys like first 2 picks, right?
Okay.
So then I would try to bust this out, and then I would just get dogged down because like everyone has speed gear, and then I would just die, right? But if I do get immunity, I do think immunity on Guiding Light is the best build for this unit. You can go DPS, you can go effectiveness. I think DPS is a little more favored right now, because everyone's running immunity on their ER units too. So if you try to soul burn on Destina and they have immunity, like, it just doesn't work. Right?
Yeah.
So
guys, Jeremy Salinas is immunity Destina, and I think I'm buying. But how often would you say you picked her?
She was either a 3rd pick or a 5th pick.
When they had hand guy?
Yeah, so if they have like a mid-range speed DPS, I could probably potentially reset them, right? And then make them useless.
Okay.
So I did let Briar Witch come out a little bit at the end, so I would pick Lidica to try and reset the Briar Witch. It did work. I don't know why they didn't ban it, because it was like a 5th pick.
So MLM Jeremy, would you recommend this to a player like me, another Banshee player? Do you think we should invest? I don't know if I can match your speed because this ring is kind of cracked, but do you think she's a good pickup to have? This kind of stuff?
I think that Felica's pretty broken right now, right? She has an AoE strip, right? 2 strips actually now because of the buff.
Yeah.
And then she has a full reset on her S3 with AoE skill null, right? So you basically get like a mini FCC S3, right? And then you get to reset one of their units. That is just a lot of value.
Okay.
And then you can go DPS, right? Like, you can go effectiveness, but I do think that DPS is a little bit better.
Sure. I think I did pick her up for my headhunt, so maybe I will try her out. I never thought I'd use this though as a, Banshee player, but yeah, you seem to be making some good work. Next up, we got the Steny, which is your main pre-ban, so I'm assuming you didn't play with this unit at all.
No, I do not give love to this unit. This unit is a crutch, and I will preach on that. Anyone that crutches on Steny,
man. Chat! Who got caught in the crossfire there? Who was picking the Steny all throughout the season? That's like all my chat, I think.
Steny, like, people who first pick Steny, I'm sorry, Velk. I know, I'm sorry, Velk, but I think
they're crutching, dude. They're crutching. Carried by Steny, dude. She is god tier. She's just so versatile, and yeah, it's crazy that you can first pick this unit, even though it seems like there's a lot of units that have reach that can counter her. But yeah, she did so well. But players like you and me, we ban her. Anything else you want to say on this unit besides roasting the chat?
A tip is if you see someone pre-banning Bellion and then you don't like to pre-ban Steny at all, you can go ahead and take their Steny.
Steal that, yeah. Sure.
If you have first pick. But that's probably never going to happen because they have the intention to pick Steny, right?
Yeah. Chat, listen, if y'all use Steny, just own it, dude. She's very good. But yeah, she is. Maybe she is hard carrying some of y'all. All right. Politis, however you guys want to say it. Up next here.
I did not use this unit. I'm going to keep it real.
Okay. Can you what was this revenge set about, man?
Revenge set's kind of just an MLM. I think I had her on destruction, and then she just didn't work out as much because people just hold their buttons, right? It's kind of like Celine.
Yeah.
But she doesn't do what Celine does, right? Because like you're theoretically not gonna kill with that AoE, like, unless it's like a cleave team, with like Sid and stuff like that. You're probably not gonna kill on that counterattack.
Sure. So you didn't really use her too often. Okay.
And I don't really like the degen build. I don't really see how she's really viable.
Jeremy, I use it, and it's very it's like you said the 15% earlier. You just got to rely on a lot of RNG. I think it's fun. I don't know how good it actually is, but for you, I would definitely use it over this thing though. I think degen would do better for you. Anyways, you don't like Politis? That is what it is. Rimuru.
Yeah, so Rimuru is really good I'm pretty sure everyone had to deal with a Leica at least once this season, right?
Yeah.
You did play RTA, right?
Yep.
So Rimuru is really good against Leica, right? Leica's a scam unit, by the way.
Ooh, tell us about the tech. What's this tech look like? The Rimuru versus Leica tech.
So Lycas usually run Guiding Light, or they're on immunity, or
Good
something
God.
like that.
This
They have a buff. Right?
Yeah.
So their options are to dual attack on the S2, which gives attack buff before the hit, right? So either your Rimuru is going to go into the DPS, right? Or they're going to S3 for the sleep and immunity. And then they have Guiding Light on, right? So you would go ahead and counter and then steal the immunity as well with that, because it applies after the effect.
Okay.
And then you hit after the effect. So you either kill the Leica with Rimuru, or you kill the DPS with Rimuru. My build's more tank, so I kind of had trouble killing the DPS, but it's okay. Usually they don't warrant to S2 on their DPS because they're afraid that they die, right?
Yeah. Dude, I like that. I should use that during the season. I fought so many Leicas. And you went for the 2-2-2, right? The crit immunity pen, standard bruiser build.
Yeah, I think that the triple set's the best build. You get your immunity, you get pen set, right? And then you get a little extra added bonus to whatever other set you want.
Yeah.
If you don't have pen set, like your S3 and your S2s, even your S1s, right? They're not going to do as much impact as you want it to be.
Sure. All right. Jeremy, if Slime Collab does rerun, just quick thoughts? We're about to look at the next Slime unit as well. And this one I know you've been saying has been a game changer for you. But Rimuru and Milim, what do you think about them as a pickup for new players?
I think they're a must pick, actually.
Both
they
still?
provide something. They provide something that no other unit will provide, right? Rimuru steals buffs, right? Has true damage, at least 10k true damage, right? If you have 8 buffs, I think.
Yep.
And then you can potentially spam, depending on the build, right? You can spam your S3 on Rimuru, right? That soul burn is crazy value, right? You're doing 10k every other turn, plus the added damage of whatever build you have, right?
Preach.
And then you're stealing their buffs as well. You have 2 ways to steal their buffs. And then Milim.
Yeah, let's go. Let's talk about the Milim. Break down your Milim build. This is a unit you used a lot, right?
Yeah, so Milim, right? If you ever have trouble with Landy, right, you can usually third pick this Milim, right? Because usually what people would do during this season was they would pick Milim Landy together as their 3 to 4 pick, right? Or 4 to 5 pick, right?
Yep.
And at that point, you probably lose because that tempo on Milim, the extinction, and then just the soul steal, she has so much into her kit right now. So if you take the Milim as a third pick, right? She has increased hit chance, right? She's got extinction. She can hold book. I think that's the best slot because you get to soul burn for yourself.
Let's talk about that real quick, Jamie. So you went for counter pen with book, right?
Yes.
So book you think is best in slot just to give you that soul burn first turn value?
Yes. I do think that Knuckles is a little bit of an MLM, on lifesteal build.
I'm getting in the cross. I'm gonna con the crossfire. Yeah, talk to us.
So I know people in the chat's like, oh yeah, you're just bellying at that point, right? But that's why you're on counter set, right? Who cares, right? If you lose the 70-30, then it doesn't matter, right? Because Bellion it's like a double-edged sword, right? It's either you win or you don't, right? So Bellion's just gonna AoE, right? You're gonna get your counter off, right? You're gonna get your Milim Buster, probably every few turns, right?
Yeah, the Fwahaha, sure.
And then you steal their souls. You steal 10 souls, by the way, if you proc Milim Buster. So I think that the steal soul, the extinction, then you also get to reveal stealth units, right? So if you pick Milim third, you can open up an Aria 5th pick, right? Because they don't have a way to deal with Aria at that point, unless they pick Solitaria.
Sure, I'm definitely a Milim fan as well. We'll have to agree to disagree on the artifact choice. I trust me, guys. I know book is amazing, but I just if we're gonna be Banshee gamers, I like the Knuckles. I think it's kind of on brand. But anyways, Jeremy, you mentioned Kisei earlier. Picking Milim that third spot. Did you ever get punished by your opponent going mega aggressive and then your Milim just ends up dying?
Yeah, actually a lot.
That was my experience too.
So if they pick Kisei 5th pick, you're probably banning it.
Yeah.
But that 20% Milim, that evasion chance, right? That innate evasion
brother.
That is that has saved me a lot of times.
Okay. Well, anyways,
I think there's a Jenna clip or something, right? Like he S3s
dodged.
my he S3s my Milim and it misses, and
Hell
then he
yeah,
got
dude.
super mad. And I was like, and I kind of felt bad.
And it's kind of over from there. But yeah, would you say Milim, besides the Destina, another one of your like main? She pulled a lot of weight for your climb.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I had trouble dealing with Landy, right? I was trying to figure out a way to deal with Landy, but there's just no good options to reliably proc a Landy out of Guiding Light, right? With barrier too, right? It's if you ever played against Landy Guiding Light with a barrier, you know how hard it is to pick her out.
And I don't know if you did this, but Milim third pick will also open up your picks. You can pick Landy and Arya later too, depending on what your opponent does.
Yeah, so that's also why I like Milim third pick, right? You can pick Aria, you can pick your Landy, right?
Yep.
Like you have Extinction, so your matchups into Aravi are also good, right? Because you can just one tap a unit maybe, depending on the build, right?
All right.
But yeah, I think that her kit's pretty overwhelming actually.
So Smilegate, you got to rerun the slime, man. My players out there need this Milim. Okay, Jeremy, if they don't rerun slime, for the Banshee gamers out there, it's gonna suck, right? Not having Milim and even Rimuru.
Yes, I think that they'll have a big time, really hard time against Landies, right? People love to spit Landies whenever they get the chance, right? She just likes to pop off, right? Everyone likes to see that animation.
Fingers crossed. All right, Eula. Another knight here. She was used a lot, like I think in the beginning of the season, and then you kind of didn't see her as much towards the end. What was your findings with her?
Yoha definitely was good in the beginning, but then she fell off. I don't really know why. She's good against the evasion units, right? Rylet, Aiden's, even Milims, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't do as much damage as Krau, depending on the build, right? She does like at least, you can usually take off 2k HP from your max HP to your current HP, and that's probably your damage, right?
Okay.
Whereas Krau has like pretty on point, even if not probably more damage on his S3. But then like people would just reset your Yoha. People would just, find a ways around Yoha. Like Ed's pretty good into Yoha because he ignores damage he ignores damage share on his S3, right? So they can just spam S3 like that. And they can kill you like that.
So you didn't use her as much towards the end at all? Always Arowell Carmen?
No, I think Arowell was just a better pick, right?
Sure.
Because she has full strip stun on S3. She has barrier on that as well. She has constant dispels on her home kit, and just escort is also just way too good.
Got it. Yeah, chat's making a distinction that she ignores the damage share. Jeremy, real quick, can you tell me what was that rule of thumb you said? You take your max HP, lower it by what?
Around 2k HP, and then that's probably depending on what unit you hit. Yeah, depending on what unit you hit. Like if you hit a fire unit, you're probably gonna like minus 4k.
Sure, but let's say it's it's a neutral unit. You subtract 2k and that's around what you're gonna hit for.
Yeah. Roughly? So say I was like 1k HP. I was probably gonna be doing like 25k. Because you subtract 2k from there.
All right. That's a nice little rule of thumb, guys. If you're ever wondering, will the Yuha finish? Anyone find that similar? I like the little rule of thumbs like that. That's cool. Okay. Next up, we got the Keck, the hand guy. And I feel like you fight this guy way more often than you picked him, yeah?
Yeah, because I had a trial period where I would pick hand guy over Destina. Mm-hmm. And then I would run into the obvious Filica situation, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have a way to take first turn on hand guy, or not hand guy, just in general, right? Like CR push with DJB or anything like that, you're probably going to expect a Filica on the opposing team, and then that just neuters your hand guy.
Oh, yeah, it's so
every
bad.
Single time.
It's usually a loss right there. So yeah, did you end up picking him at all then during the later part of the season?
If he target banned me, then I would be forced to pick him, right?
Sure. And then maybe sometimes against like AOL or something.
Yeah, I do have an Amelia build for that reason as well. But yes, it is 236 on counter. Yes.
Yeah, so guys, remember, a lot of times if you think the stats look a little low, counter set, right? This is for all future Banshee gamers out there. You just need more stats in general than your speed counterparts or destruction, whatever it is. Stats or sets that give stats, right? Jeremy's not getting any of that because he has that counter built in. So, yeah, it's deceptively still solid. I wouldn't say amazing, but still, right? This hand guy, the one that you don't pick that up that much, still solid for counter. Kayron up next, Jeremy. Oh, we're on the crescent, dude.
This unit is very good anti-cleave. I do have ER built into him. Yeah. I know a lot of people don't like to have ER.
You have a lot built in, actually. Yeah. Talk to us about that.
So this would just be to, like, Aiden has strip, right? Like, you don't want to get stripped by an Aiden, right? You don't want your immortality to be stripped by an Aiden. That just feels bad, right? Or, well, like, you don't want to get, like, stunned by, like, I don't know, usually units like Ida have, like, 30 effectiveness or something like that.
Sure, so, but 191's kind of a lot, no? I feel like you could probably be a little over 100 and be relatively safe.
Usually Politis, I would try to warrant away from that because Politis could
Lidica, okay.
Yeah. I could flit in more damage if I reduce the ER. And that's true, but you know, I have another unit that pairs well with Kayron, and then I think you guys will like it.
Do you want to talk?
I'm on the list.
You want to talk about it now, or should we wait till we get there?
Yeah, we can. Can you hover over ice mages real quick?
Sure. Let me just remember where we're at. So we're sorting by CP. We're on Kayron. Okay, so who's the unit that pairs well with Kayron? I'm in the ice mage section.
All right, can you scroll down one? There you go. Ice Dom right there.
This was your pair against anti-cleave with the Kayron. Ice Dom plus Kayron.
I love this unit.
And we're on knowledge seat, Jeremy. Okay, brother. I'm ready to go down this road with you. Talk to us.
So everyone knows the Caval meta, or that Caval period, right? Everyone picked Caval, right? Yeah. So I would use Ice Dom as a means to kill this Caval unit, right? Because she has reflect, and you need to crit, right, to proc Caval. So usually they pair with Filicas or Rands or anything like that. So they would have to go first, and it does work, yes. So when they proc her, she'll proc Nixie. Grace, which will do barrier and reflect.
Yeah.
And then if they extra attack again, right, the Caval will go ahead and do his extra attack, and then he's probably just gonna die flat out if they're a good Caval.
And sorry, keep going.
Yeah, and then she pairs with Kayron, right? Because if they can't strip the immortality, right, now you have a reflect Kayron that they can't kill, right?
Yeah.
so yes, it works.
Okay. Jeremy, can you run me through how the draft would look, though? Like, do we need the Caval there? Is it the Caval appears and then we pick both the Dom and the Kayron? Is one of them picked already?
Usually you want to third or fourth pick this unit. If
they're cleaving in general.
I have killed Aidens with it because I would intentionally hit the Aiden and they will counterattack into me.
Yeah.
And they will AoE and probably die because she's below HP.
Okay.
I have killed the Landy with Ice Dom, right? She just S3s and she nukes herself down. Right?
Sure. Can you talk to us a little bit about the stats? If someone wants to try this tech out, what do you think are the most important stats to have ready? Like counter, not a necessity, right?
Yeah, counter's not a necessity.
But the ER,
how important ER and the tank stats are what really matter.
Okay.
The speed's a little extra because Filica will grant skill null, so her AoE is on S3. So you can just remove the skill nulls like that.
All right. Well,
if they do target her down, that's what the knowledge sheet is for, right? Knowledge sheet just gives a random buff, right?
Oh my God,
attack, evasion, defense. Like,
Jeremy, you started this stream saying you don't like flan because of the 15%, and we just got we're gonna get 25% in here, brother. I mean, it doesn't matter, but
it's just
matter,
funny.
Yeah.
You're just there for the reflect buff.
I got
knowledge
you.
Sheet, it procs, right?
Yeah, sure. All right, it's just extra when it procs. 75%, it's gonna proc. Okay, let's go down the list. Krau, I don't think is this more Guild Wars? It's on Revenge set.
I think I used this against Kana once. He picked strays and then it killed the Krau and I came back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then you just
the Krau was definitely not used as much. Too much injury, in my opinion.
Okay.
Right. You got Death Dealer Ray. You have Injury Alencia. Ravi's innate injury, right?
Mm-hmm. The new E is kind of nice, but yeah, I agree. I didn't use him too much. All right.
The E is. I think he just needs a buff in general. Right?
I think he's okay for now. Yeah.
He's okay. I think he needs like a little change.
And we got this, Jeremy, another free-to-play holy sack, 85%, baby. Just don't get 15%.
It did work on Kana, so I'm good with that.
All right, Jeremy. I got a counter Ludwig, dude. Now is this MLM? This is just for fun. Okay.
Yeah,
we like to see these units. Well, so we'll talk about it just real quick. And what's your thoughts on this for fun unit?
All right, if he can pop off, he'll pop off, right? So he's there to nuke a unit down, and then he'll standard out with his S1 if they do hit him.
Yeah.
Because he has steel buff on S1, if y'all didn't know. So, yeah, I didn't really pick him that much on this season.
Well, it's definitely an interesting build. Let's go next.
But it's always nice to have fun in rain. That's
of
why we play
course, dude. Don't we play this game to have fun, man?
Team.
Sorry, let me, Jeremy, just one quick break. Just to talk to my boy Sal.
Hey, Chad, hey, Car, how is it going? I hope everything is fine. I am trying to be fine as much
I'm
as
glad
possible.
you're doing okay, Sal. He's over there in Turkey, boys, and if you have been living underground, Turkey's going through some stuff, so I asked him to keep us updated. Sal, I'm glad it's going as well as it could be, I guess. Thank you so much for that reset, brother. All right. Next up, Jeremy, we got the Solitaria plus 15 Fairy Tale for a Nightmare.
Yeah, I didn't really pick this unit as much either.
say that again. What'd you say? You didn't pick this much?
I didn't prioritize. Yeah,
Really?
everyone's gonna complain that it's slow. She's a 5th pick. You 5th pick her, she gets banned. Whatever, you go next.
Okay.
It shouldn't really matter. Right?
I think
you
this.
pick her into people that pick Sage Vivian, Arias, or like even if you just want to like control if they have a lack of cleanse, right? She's just there to be there.
Dude, Jeremy read you like a book, Bianca.
Yeah. I know everyone's gonna criticize my builds. Yes, you get this all into. Yes, I know. Jello will hate me for this, but I don't have the speed gear for it, and I don't really care for her much.
Hey, if you're just using it as that kind of, if it goes through, it'll still work. If it's probably gonna get banned, I get that mentality. But yeah, this stats are a little crazy. Anyways, it worked.
Sorry.
All right, Jeremy. Next up, we got the Lua.
All right, so she used to be faster. She used to be like 290, but I think I nerfed her for the Lidica.
Okay, yeah, the Lidica was fast.
A lot of people like Wind Demon will pre-ban this Genshin unit, as they would call it, because she looks like a Genshin character.
She sure does.
So, if I did get to pick her, it'd probably be like into like a hand guy or into something that could be reset for one turn, right, as a value. Because I do think Lidica's a little bit better than Lua, but Lua has the AoE reset.
So they fulfilled kind of a similar role, Lua and your Lidica?
Yeah, they both fill a similar role.
How often would you say you picked Lua? Like in the last week, how many total times did you pick her in your climb?
I don't think I picked her at all. Okay. I just let people have her.
Got it.
If you're turn 2, realistically speaking, you should be killing Luas. Exactly. That 1 turn reset's not going to be doing much. Like, it's not like a Lidica.
So when you fought Lua, you didn't have much issue?
I had some issues, but that's probably because my draft was bad at that point.
Okay. All right. Next up, Violet.
All right. This unit pairs well with my 3rd pick Milim, right? They see 3rd pick Milim, boom, they're going to slam a shoe, right?
Yeah.
Boom. And then you 5th pick on this unit, and then they're forced to ban it.
Okay. So he would come out.
It's still nice to have Violet build, yes. And yes, you can argue that it's symbol shoe and no credit it, but like that's probably not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's still fine. You kept the immunity, right, for the for the Rancy Iseria still, or why'd you want immunity to like pen?
No real reason. It's just I don't have any pen slots on the top 2.
Okay, if you did though, you might swap it. There's no specific tech here for the immunity right now.
I do think that you probably want pen set now because no one was really doing Rancy's Iseria, right? It's all about the pirate flan.
Yep.
Okay. Just think about it middle.
I need to get mine on some. Oh, wait, Jeremy, did these stats were okay for you?
They're fine. They should be fine. I used to have them like 19k HP, like 1.2k defense.
Yeah.
But like no speed. But that was like way back when. Right?
Yeah. So we're adopting a little bit faster. Yeah. Besides the immunity over pen. Okay.
Yeah, because his is only what 55 evasion chance, right? He has this thing up. You're probably gonna get hit, so you probably want the speed to S3 and then just try to restabilize with his.
Is it 55 or 50, guys? Is it 55? Yeah, I think
it's 55.
Yeah. Okay, 55. Yep. All right. You mentioned Amelia. This is another cleanser for you.
Yeah, so if they like target ban my Destina, right, I would probably just pick this unit. Or if they went like Celine A Ravi, I would pick Milim and Amelia, and then I would last pick Little Queen Charlotte. Right. So Milim's very good carry because you realistically lap back into a soul burn to get your evasion back up.
Yeah, these are some. This is very high ER. This is this self-imprint. Yeah, A rank. Okay, let me show the stats real quick. Anything else on the Amelia besides being like that backup cleanser?
It's the backup cleanser, and it's also like a tempo giver, right? So if you do want to dabble in a solo DPS draft, where you draft 2 DPS in draft phase, and then they post ban 1 DPS, and she's still super good, right? She has tons of cleanse, right? She has the Guardian Ice Crystals, so they can't really aggro your DPS unit down. Unless they have the means to, right? And then you just restabilize with this Amelia character.
Got it. This Amelia character, he says. Next up, Crimson Armor. I know, Jeremy, when I fought you, we would this unit was picked a lot, right? The health, actually, I'm surprised. Health a little lower than I thought it'd be.
It's not as proud as I want it to be, but yeah, I did wish that she had a little bit higher HP.
Okay.
But I did opt to do F-res, right? Because
yeah, you actually have higher F-res.
At least that one turn, right?
Damn, look at that chest piece. Sure, yeah, 50 F-res more than like I think most Carmen's. Speed point is just speed tuned to be like 10 lower than your slowest DPS, I'm assuming, or one of your units.
Yeah.
And
so she's just there. So if she lives, then she'll throw up the invincibility for that one turn.
Yeah.
And then if she can provoke, then she will, right?
And then the counter set. What you find you the counter set too? Did you like that a lot?
I just do it on there and just throw it on there.
I mean, with 100% provoke, right? Sometimes it's pretty damn good.
Into Lionheart, it's kind of iffy, right? So
well, that's what I was saying with the Arowell, but you said you had no issue too much with that kind of matchup.
Yeah. Well, Arowell can actually stun Lionheart sermons too. So that's also a counter. But Carmen,
this one might be a little liability.
Carmen, you'll have a bit of trouble because she has she has ER buff, right?
Yeah.
Lionheart Senya if you do counter. So it'll be a little bit harder to provoke her. Okay. So try to contain the damage, but yeah.
Sounds good. Speaking of other knights, we got the FCC here, also on counter, of course, very on brand for Jpham. This unit, I want to know how often compared to the other knights. I'm assuming second, third string. Did you pick her at all?
This is the unit that I'd pick if it's like a cleave or something like that.
Okay.
Like I would drop like 2 knights, so I have like 2 Ariasts and stuff like that.
Dang, you're on ER.
I didn't really drop her as much.
ER main stat on her ring, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's just because it's there.
That's an interesting build. Was the ER actually important for like the anti-cleave?
Yeah, so usually if they try to pivot out and like pick like an Alencia or anything like that, right? I would have ER to not get death broke.
Okay.
But I didn't really pick her as much because, Desert Jewel Bazaar exists in this game, right?
Yeah.
Offsig also exists in this game.
And other knights are just getting better too. Yep.
It just doesn't feel good, right?
All right. I asked you about this one earlier. All right, Jeremy. I see 21. We are on counter set though. Okay. F-res is on point. We got some F-res. A little wasted crit and effective, but I like it. The fact that it's on counter. What was your findings with the Karina?
So Karina is you pick her if their DPS carries are very squishy, or you pick her into a cleave team, right?
Yep.
Her requirements obviously are allies, right? Only allies have to get 50%, right? So she's an attention unit, right? You have to hit her, or you have to hit their allies, right? If they hit the allies, right, you proc your passive, you get the 50% CR push, right? And you're gonna probably one tap it.
Oh yeah.
Or something like that, right? She can also go good into standard if they're picking units like Zeo, right? Zeo has to S3, right? Off the rip, right? It's just known facts, right? And then they have to go into the Karina, because if they don't go into the Karina, she's gonna proc her passive, and then she's gonna one tap that Zeo anyway.
Yeah, so and with this amount of defense, plus you have counter set too, right? So when they focus her, you get a little bit of a double dip there. So she worked pretty well. I feel like she was super good when she first came out, and then people started to learn to play a little bit around her. Did you still pick her a ton or the same amount towards the end?
I think I've picked this unit like 70% of the time. because people would spam Aidens, right? People like to pick the Zeo with their Sea Liliuses.
Yep.
And then her bad matchups are obviously like A Ravi, Alencia's, even Shoes. You could argue Rylet, but Rylet's probably gonna die to Karina before he kills her. Because right, you're doing your true damage on your artifact proc, right? You're getting that counter, you're getting death breaks, you're doing the AoE splash. So if the enemy has just squishy DPS units, then you can just pick Karina, and she's probably a force ban.
Okay. They're asking about the speed. Yeah, I think mine's a little faster, guys, but this speed is just fine, right, Jpham, in your experience?
It depends. If they have a poly on the board, then obviously she's never gonna cut, right?
Yeah,
you could do the 200 speed build, and then you can cut the cavils and whatnot. But usually this is what you want to go for. Right?
I need to check what mine's at. I don't think mine are at 200, but remember, once again, guys, he is on counter set, right? So whatever set you guys are on.
Yeah, I don't. It's a def percent on the right side, all three. I think. I'm gonna check that if you want.
Oh, is it? Yeah, defense percent, main stat boots too, boys. So that's why he's getting a lot of his speed just purely through subs. Yeah. Okay. Next up, we got the DJB, Jeremy.
All right, this is like my. What was it? So it's Destina first as my cleanser, as my main cleanser.
Then Amelia.
And then Amelia, and then it's DJB.
So this would be third string.
Yep. You always gotta have your protocols, right? You know.
Sure.
Something to look back on.
Yeah. So as a third string, you just take us through it real quick here.
So it's just the standard DJB build, right? You get like 250, 260 speed. You run them with Water's Origins, so they can't just hit DJB, right? And then they get punished for hitting them if they do.
Yep.
He's just there for barrier inversions and then CR boosts. The CR boost is just mainly to try to kill off a unit first turn, and then you can just go from there.
Sure. Sounds good. All right. Next up is the Ed. Now this guy made a huge splash this season, Jeremy. Same findings with you or same experience?
I think that Ed was mainly a fourth, fifth pick. If you pick him third, you just get countered by like a shoe.
Sure.
So I do think that he third pick Ed, that it was more of a liability because they can just play around him, right? Even Death Dealer Array can play around an Ed if you play it right.
Okay.
I actually did die to a Death Dealer Array, and I had an Ed on my team. Right? Right? The injury stacks
they can explode. They can explode him. Yeah.
Yeah, they just debuff overwhelm him.
Yeah.
Like, you can only dispel one at a time. So they can usually just sleep him, and then they can just like soul burn sleep again on DDR turn. Yeah, you just get perma-slept and stuff like that. But people might argue that lifesteal sets kind of iffy. Some say injury, some say speed set. I do think that lifesteal's not bad, right? You don't heal as much as Sigurd's, but I don't like the fact that you have to have an artifact and you have to have a set requirement to lifesteal, right?
Okay.
The same thing with Emma Bologna, actually, right? Why would you hinder your units to have a restricted lifesteal set when you can just constantly lifesteal?
By restrict, you mean the 50%?
Yeah, you need to be 50%.
Okay.
HP.
Chad, what do you think about that? The Sigurds, that's important for Bologna coming out this upcoming week. He's saying he doesn't like Sigurd's Scythe because you have to be under 50%. I still enjoy, like, my preference would definitely be leaning towards the Destruction plus Sigurds if I had to choose. I like that on Ed as well. But Jeremy says he likes this kind of lifesteal Drake. It fundamentally does the same thing, right? He has the extra crit damage here instead of getting it from the Destruction set, but he gets less lifesteal, but it's always active. That's his thought process. Okay. Jeremy, yeah, you definitely aren't a Fribbles user. You're definitely more of like what works. You have specific techs, and you're not too worried about the numbers, yeah?
The numbers are... I'll usually hit my main goal stat lines, and then anything extra is just better, right?
Okay. All right. I definitely like you definitely have a lot of different styling choices on your gearing than most players, I would say. Do you agree?
Yeah. Some would say, yeah.
Okay. Next up, we got the Elena, and she's on that Ning Ning Artie, which a lot of people said this was like... Elena, I think, is the only one that can really use this effectively. What was your findings with this build?
I picked her like... I didn't pick her as much, but I did like 5th picker or 4th picker into like a cleave, right?
Okay.
230 speed on counter, right? And then just... You steal the souls if they AoE, you punish her. Yeah.
Sure. Not much else to say about her, right?
Yeah, she's just, you don't really pick Elena too often, right? She's kind of like a Politis, right? You can play around her.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everyone knows how to play around the anti-cleave units, right?
Yep.
So it's just more of how you draft, right? You need to trap your opponents with your anti-cleave techs, right?
Yeah. Cougar bad. Shout out to Cougar. We talked about the Dominion tech. If y'all missed it, guys, make sure y'all either watch the video or go scroll back if you're watching this already on the video. But Jay had some really cool tech here with the Dominion. A lot of people use, but he's used it specifically with a Kayron. Okay, Jeremy, the Death Dealer Ray, man. Let's talk about this, dude. The latest ML5 got buffed. We're on a counter ER build. You kind of hinted you didn't have the best experience with him. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't really like Death Dealer Ray.
Okay. So just, give us a quick rundown. What did you like, not like?
Okay, so the thing I didn't like about Death Dealer Ray is it's one of two things, right? You need injury units that injure already, right? And then, or you need to play like Solitaria or Archdemon, right?
Sure.
To actually use this character, right?
Yeah, the post buff effects. Yep.
Yeah, so like usually you would third pick this, or I would see some people third pick DDR, and then they would obviously like, right, you can telegraph what they're going to pick, right? Oh no, he's just going to pick the Solitaria, he's going to pick the Archdemon, right?
Yeah.
I can play around that, right? People up in the higher leagues, they will know what you will pick if you pick units like Death Dealer Ray.
Okay.
Like it's more telegraphed.
Yeah, it's too transparent. Your game plan is what you're saying. That's what the main reason you didn't like him.
Yeah, it's like I felt obligated to pick Solitaria, in which everyone saw that my Solitaria wasn't that good, right?
Yeah.
And then Archdemon Shadow, right, which wasn't really a unit that was played much.
Not too good this season. Yeah. All right.
So
makes sense.
I just have them built just in case, they want to go like non-cleanse and stuff like that, and I'll maybe 4th, 5th pick him, maybe.
I think chat's a big fan. A lot of people think this unit's very good after the buffs, but your personal preference didn't really work out too well for you, yeah?
I can see him working, right? He weaponizes your support units, right? Like Arowell and stuff like that, right? So, and then now with the buff, right, you get 10% true damage basically because you apply venom by yourself and then you explode it, right?
Yeah, I think we can all see why he's good now. But for you, Jay, this is your review. You're not a fan.
I'm just not a fan, no.
Hey, fair enough, boys. All right. Zahak. Talk to us, Jay.
I did have him on speed build.
What is this? Counter Zahak? Oh my god. Bruiser counter Zahak. I just looked. Okay. Yeah, explain.
Yeah, so I did have him on speed set before, but then realistically speaking, right, you're never going to outspeed with the Zahak, right? There is no point in having him speed set. I don't.
Ooh, okay. I think this might be the spiciest take so far, guys. I don't know if chat's going to like this one. Yeah, so talk to us. So you're not going to outspeed anyway, so you went for 190, counter pen. Yeah, further thoughts on it?
I didn't really like Zahak that much, right?
I don't like him either.
Like you either outspeed them and then you kill the Aiden or you kill the Rylet, right? And then he's done his job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just 310 Zahak. Yeah, that's never gonna happen.
Oh, well, speaking of
Jinte's, and then if you build a Bruiser, right, they're just gonna kill him down first anyway. They're gonna have a target on him. Right? It's just he's too hard of a unit to pick, really.
So did you pick him at all on this build?
Oh yeah, I actually countered someone's DJB because they thought they could stun me. And just one tap.
So this worked out for my play was just not to pick him at all, on the kind of speed build that chat likes, but yeah, so this worked out. Counter Bruiser 190 speed. I might get this on a try.
More of a force man at that.
Yeah, sure. And if he went through though, he still did some work. You said.
Yeah, he still did some work. He still did some good damage.
All right, and the EE guys, of course, was the increased attack. Yeah. All right, that might be my favorite build so far. All right, Jeremy, we let's pick up the piece a little bit here. We got the Ravi. A lot of people I think didn't like her as much near the after her initial buffs or the buffs that came through. Did you like her as a fire bruiser?
I picked her like once, and then she died to an ML Landy because everyone knows Landy's gonna crit fire units anyway.
Yeah, because the Milim kind of just fulfilled this role for you, correct?
Yeah, Milim's just A Ravi, but wait, or not A Ravi, Fire Ravi, but just way better.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
I didn't see a Charlotte yet. Is there going to be a Charlotte in this account?
My Charlotte's pretty poorly built.
You didn't really like her.
I didn't really like Charlotte because obviously, right? They picked Shu, right? And then your Charlotte's probably dead.
Oh, speaking of Shu, here's our Shu, Jeremy. Did we pick this rat unit at all?
Time to time. I didn't really. My stats aren't as desirable as some people. Yes, I have 2K attack. Just have a gear rolled. Haven't really changed it much. So,
Jeremy, just anyone that tries to criticize the stats, dude, just tell them, no legend, no opinion.
If you do want a good Shu build, go ahead and look at Valk's Shu. That man has 26k HP on that man. Like,
nah, see, Jeremy, listen. Would you say Valk? A lot of those boys have been on our review channel already. They can know where to look for stats. I like your builds though, because they're not what people think you need. And if you're working it with it, let's be proud of this. Don't look otherwhere, guys. Look here at these stats with Jeremy. So this worked out fine when you picked her.
Yeah, it works out fine. As a third pick, fourth pick, she works pretty good.
And that's all you need, guys. Yeah, I don't know why I said otherwise. Look at Jeremy's stats, and you don't need as much, right? Relatable. Let's go. This is what I love. This is what I love. Relatable legend stats, man. Anything else we want to say about this shoe?
She didn't pop off as much as I wanted to. That's my only downside with the shoe, right? Like I've seen other people's shoes just start popping off, and I look at mine, and I'm just like, wow. Why couldn't mine be like that? I could have won that game.
Well, that's just left side. Yeah, that's just left side problems. Okay. Dilibet on the new portrait arty. Okay. Counter set. Sorry, say that again, Jeremy.
That artifact, you get like a little firework effect, like when the game starts.
Is that why you like it?
Yeah, I mean it's portraits. It's the same thing, so you get a little added effect.
Okay. Any thoughts on Dilibet? How'd you like the counter build?
I think I picked her a handful of times, and she actually does a decent amount of damage, especially on pen set counter.
Sure.
Usually they want to like focus down the Dilibet because that's probably your secondary cleanse or anything like that.
Yeah, everyone's holding skills. They're trying to focus her.
Yeah, so she was good into Death Dealer Ray comps, right? Because like your units were probably slowed by Solitaria or something like that, and they have like max Venom stacks on your units, right? And then she's just gonna start cruising down the CR bar because she gets 40% CR push, and they have debuff overload, right? So she's very good into DDR.
Okay.
And she's just zooming through.
Anti-DDR tech on that counter pen. Got it. Next up is the Alencia. Oh, we're actually rocking the Lentinox Wrath, her own RD, on injury immunity. Okay, speed looks good for being on injury. Good enough. Stat line looks fine, especially when this Alencia Nox. Any thoughts on this one, Jeremy?
She's more to punish like Bellion players, A-Robbie players.
Yep.
Things like that, right? I mean, even Arias, right? Because you have an AoE strip on S3. I do think that injury is the best build. You don't really need pen set Paladin. I see that. But I think that immunity is the best secondary slot as your set because you can just get like reset by like a Flitica, right? You need immunities. Like
really?
Immunity.
Yeah, talk to us about the immunity versus pen.
Immunity, right? Mm-hmm. Like Rimuru meta, all that stuff. But I think immunity is making more of a comeback because, Leica exists, right? They need to press their buttons. Right.
Okay. Interesting, guys. A lot of chat likes the immunity. Is that specifically for this injury build? I mean, that's pretty much the way I think most Alencias are now. You pick.
Yeah, most Alencias should be immunity. I don't think you need pen at all.
Jeremy, can you recap again for us real quick the immunity pros?
So immunity pros are like I said, right? Leica unit, right? She was a pretty popular unit because you could pair Roy with her, you could pair like Strays with her and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, so you get targeted if you don't have immunity, or you get AoE slept. Like, if you have a Flitica that's on immunity, like mine, right? Mine's 290. I'm not outspeeding a Leica, realistically. And so the Leica is just going to S3 and sleep my Flitica, right? Because I didn't have immunity.
Interesting. Guys, immunity. Yeah, let's go, baby. Immunity making a comeback. All right. A lot of people dunk on immunity, but nice. I like that. I like it. Arunka, Jeremy. Wait. Counter Arunka, boys.
Okay, so
yeah,
this unit I didn't really pick as much, but I did pick her a lot during the early season or the early phases of the season.
Yeah. And how did that go?
So everyone knows that SC Arowell came out and then Aiden came out, right?
Yep.
Savior Aiden, right? And then so I would pick this unit if they started drafting Arowell and then SC Aiden, right?
Because that S1 and then on Uberis, it's like a truck, yeah?
Yeah, so I would realistically one tap an Aiden on the S3, even if I missed, I think.
Oh, even with S3? Okay.
Even with a miss, I would kill the Aiden, right? Because they have the barrier from Arowell, right?
Yeah.
So you just one tap like a Rylet that has a barrier. You just one tap the evasion units with barriers.
So that was the early season tech. Did you use her at all in the later season?
I think I used her like once, and then she got the job done. So
she got the job done still? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I know a lot of people aren't a fan. Her damage, she just seems like sometimes she doesn't do enough.
Yeah. So she doesn't work into tank units like Bellion or anything like that. I know everyone wants to see like the Opsic damage with Arunka, but like let's be real. If this unit did Opsic level damage on no crit, that's kind of insane, right?
So the stat line, Jeremy, for Bruiser, you like the counter, you like this like very, almost no speed, but very high attack, right? To emphasize that damage and then enough bulk to survive. Worked well.
I think the passive is where I went wrong. I upgraded the passive a bit, so then I had to nuke the speed, right? Because if you play into barriers, right, she's probably gonna and you played turn 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're probably gonna cut ahead of your cleansers, right? So I do think they need to change the passive a bit.
Oh, a little balance. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think the CR boost is doing any like justice, anything. Maybe give her something like a Bihu, like instead of like the CR, just have like no crit and then attack and defense, right? Rather than just pure attack, right?
All right, Jeremy had a little balance, guys. Buffs for Arunka from Jpham. That's his take. We got the Landy coming up. Ooh. All right. A Bloodstone counter Landy. We got the bulk on point. 2700 attack. 161 speed. Yeah, Jeremy, anything you want to say about this?
I didn't really pick Landy all that often, right? So if you third picked a Landy, you probably got a Milim shoved right in your face right after. So, that just doesn't feel that good to play into. Like, even though I'm a tank build, right?
Yeah.
Most Milims are built like pure damage, right? She's probably gonna kill the Landy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Soulburn plus ignore damage share on S3 with Milim's probably gonna kill mostly any Landy. I just didn't really have any success using Landy. Also, I let AOL into the draft, right? So having Landy doesn't really feel good.
Sure.
Because you have the S3. Most of your damage comes from S3, right? So I feel like having AOL into the Landy just doesn't feel good in general.
Okay. Next up is the Mary. We kind of mentioned she's not as good as she not as much in the meta. Did you pick her at all, Jamie? This one I feel like the stats are a little low here.
Yeah, you would probably go for the ER build this season.
Yeah.
I didn't really pick her much, but if I did, I would pick her into Aiden, or I would pick her into say like a Rylet or anything like that.
Okay, so a very rare unit, but still had gear on for the exceptions when you needed her.
Yeah, it's always good to have units built like this, like that they have their niches.
Yeah, like you mentioned before, right? You said if they call your bluff, you want to have that unit ready. Yeah, or if they try to. Yeah, okay. Fire CC on counter. Wait, is this not just for expos?
No.
What is this?
I didn't pick her at all this season. So before I landed on Milim as a third pick, right? I was trying to find a way to deal with Landy.
This is for Landy. This is anti-Landy tech.
So she has strip on S2 and attack down and like something else, right?
Yeah.
I thought it would be okay to have her build, but it just didn't work out.
Okay, so this was an experiment and it wasn't used this season.
No.
Okay. Well, next up we got the LQC, and I'm actually interested to hear your thoughts on this one, guys. She did not receive buffs, Jeremy. So what do you think about Little Queen Char in the current state of the game?
I think she's pretty decent, right? Obviously you need to probably fifth pick her, and then at that point she's probably gonna get banned. But people that say that she needs a buff, I don't know about that, because I think she's pretty. She fills her niche, right? Like most units, right? She counters a Ravi or any dark units that's on the board, right?
I think the main thing is, Jeremy, it just feels like a lot of times versus those dark units, her role kind of got, crowded by the Odd and the Aiden. They sort of fulfill a similar role. They both have their shared different weaknesses, but yeah, I think that's where people don't really like that a 3-star, I guess 4-star, excuse me, kind of can do a similar function.
The thing about that is Aiden's a lot squishier than LQC, right? And realistically speaking, right, that Hellcutter stack's gonna do a lot more than an Aiden S3, depending on your build, right? And depending on like the situation of like the field, right? But more often than not, you're probably gonna one tap units with LQC if she does get her turn and she doesn't have attack down and stuff like that. That's why you pair her with Amelia or you pair her with Destina, stuff like that.
But that's the same reasons I think I don't, or I mean, I also agree. I think Little Queen Charlotte, it'd be scary to buff her because she can still do her job. But I do think she needs some love. Like, the fact that you have to pair with another unit, otherwise she's going to get crowd control. She's 0 speed on Hellcutter. I think there's just a lot of things where she could feel better as an ML5, but your opinion is she's probably okay where she is?
Yeah, she's okay where she is. If she does get a buff, it'll be a little scary, right?
I think that would be scary, yeah. All right.
Imagine this unit has evasion. No, thank you.
We'll see what Smilegate. If they do decide to buff her, we'll see what they give her. Okay. Kawazu. This guy see any play?
Yeah, I actually picked him quite a bit. He doesn't have the ideal attack stats that I want him to be, but he's just on leftover gear. But he fills the niche, right? Someone picks Solitaria into you, or like Sage Vivian, and then you pick this guy, right? And now all of a sudden they have a threat they have to kill almost immediately, right? You want him to build him a little bit of tank, and you want him to have the attack stats, right? He ignores Sage Vivian's passive because of the burn damage, right?
Yep.
And then you also proc on Solly's S1 AoE, right? So you're gonna get your passive up almost guaranteed. You usually like 4th pick, 5th pick this guy.
Okay. I like this. So, Jerry, these stats, you said you'd like the attack to be higher, but overall it still worked?
Yes.
Right,
or even Rebellion, right? Like if you can kill their Soul Weavers or like even their like enablers like C. Lilius or anything like that.
Yeah.
Then like he works. He works.
All right. Jeremy, we have a lot of units built, man. This is it's pretty impressive. So Ning Ning up next on counter. Let's go through and let's focus on the units that maybe you actually used quite a bit. Otherwise, if they're just kind of like a test or a fun, I'm trying to not say MLM, but this Ning Ning, how did she work out?
It was more MLM, obviously, right? Because it's counter set.
Yeah.
It's 30 speed counter set.
Okay.
So
I like the stat line.
It was picked like a handful of times, right? If I wanted to be a little bit aggressive, I would pick this unit.
Sure. Okay.
Instead of like an Amelia, or like if I wanted like a barrier inversion.
Yeah.
Instead of DJB, I would pick Ning Ning, right? Because she gives us attack bar and an attack boost.
Your counter sets are kind of cracked, dude. They're pretty good. Okay. BBK on Guide to Decision. What is this about?
I think this was when Melissa started getting like that ramp up play.
Oh, okay.
And I had to get to a decision because it would be immunity and then barrier.
Yeah.
And then your vitality.
To protect that, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I didn't really pick it that much.
You didn't pick her too often? Yeah. Unlike your Kayron, you went for no ER.
I think BBK is more of a cleave unit than an anti-cleave unit.
Sure.
In my opinion. Because you got Ran, they can soul burn. Right? You got Fliticas, like, and all that stuff, like F Fliticas and stuff like that.
Sure.
You can't realistically get that much damage and ER at the same time. But yeah.
All right. Next up is the APOC, of course, on counter set. Crimson Seed, though, Jeremy, is about to get nerfed to the ground.
Yes.
We're going to change that out, right?
Well, she's probably going to go back on proof. Unfortunately,
okay.
I don't really see any other artifact other than Crimson Seed, which is pretty okay, right?
James, she's pretty slow though at 146. Was that okay for you?
That's fine because I would have my cleansers, right? To just in case. I also have the Crimson Seed as a little bit of a backup, right? If they debuff overload me.
Yeah.
I think the counter is fine. I would like a little bit more speed. It's not the best A Ravi. Bedward can verse me as much as he wants. It's fine. Don't really care.
Yeah, ignore. Go ahead.
And we're the godfather of A Ravis. It's fine.
Sure. All right. Quick comment, Jeremy, on APOC near the end of the season. So this is a unit where a lot of people were saying, she's fallen off. Don't pick her from headhunts. She sucks. And then near the end, like she was picked a ton. No.
I just think that people forget to remember why she was good for like a good 4 seasons, right?
Yeah.
But like people have ways around A Ravi, right? If you pick A Ravi for anti-cleave, you're probably gonna die, right? Everyone if everyone has an agenda around an A Ravi. Sorry, Abe.
Don't reach out. Go on.
Yeah, we gotta finish this up before Benwood comes here. But everyone has a way to deal with A Ravis at this point in the age, right? For newer players, I do still recommend picking up A Ravis, right?
Same.
A Ravi is just super oppressive if you don't know how to deal with her, right? It's just people forget that like the reason why she's not used as much is because people have answers to her. Zahak, Injury Alencia, Injury Rebellion, even DDR, right? All these units now have ways. Everyone should have a way to deal with A Ravis at this point.
All right. Let's keep moving on. Shuri, oh God, Jeremy, do we need to talk about this or no?
Oh yeah, we can. I killed KHM with this.
Okay.
So.
All right, talk to us about this counter Unity Shuri with some.
All right, so I would third pick him. This was like mid-season. This was mid-season. So I would third pick because I didn't third pick Milim at that point.
Yeah, and third pick always sucks anyway.
Just third pick him because he gives CR, right. He has Rosa plus the Unity, so he's gonna dual attack pretty often.
Yeah. And if you weren't aware, right, Jeremy, he gives a ton of CR whenever he's doing his job.
Mm-hmm. And then later in Frenzy, right, you're gonna start doing the big damage because I know people are gonna probably comment on the crit damage, but to get this tank stats, attack stats, speed, and then the crit damage on this 4-star unit, it's just impossible.
Hey, and in Frenzy, right? He's still pumping. Okay, so beyond that mid-season pick though, did you pick him near the end or not as much?
I tried to pick him once to like bluff a speed contest, and then I just died.
Okay. But like you would pick him versus like other tanky players, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So KHM usually plays like ER and stuff like that with like Sage Vivian and stuff.
Yeah.
And so you would just start zooming through the CR bar, and then you would kill them eventually.
Sure. All right, SSB.
The only downside I do have about this. Oh, fire.
No. Go ahead. Yeah, finish up the fire.
The only downside is like I used to play a previous gacha game called Summoner's War.
Oh yeah, people might have heard of that one.
This unit is almost identical to the Fire Vampire, right? But instead, he doesn't CR boost himself. He only CR boosts the team. That's my only downside.
Okay, not as powerful as his counterpart. The Seaside Bologna, Jeremy. This is a lifesteal build. Bulk a little low though, for my taste at least. But did she work out for you in the season?
She's probably a 4-span at best.
Okay.
Everyone has like a Solly, right? Everyone has like ADS. Stuff like that. You don't really see SSB as much.
Definitely falling off.
Yeah. Also, Alencia just kind of destroys SSB. Right. All these grass units, right? They all have ways to kill SSB.
Sure.
In my opinion. Like even Rimuru, right? Like Rimuru is probably just gonna one-tap an SSB with the true damage. Yeah, she also exists. Only time I really picked her is if like they early picked Ed, and then I would just slam like SSB into it because like Ed just speeds SSB like no other.
Yeah, even when you debreak him, which sucks, but like he'll counter and then give you a ton of counter stacks, right?
Yep.
Okay. Bikin. Oh my God, Jeremy! Even the Bikin's on counter. What is this? What the? No molas though.
Okay. Hear me out. I didn't pick her at all, but I wanted to. If you S1 and you counter and you crit and you get your skill reduced, you get all your skills reduced actually.
Yeah.
When you're S1. This is just a for fun character in my opinion.
Okay.
But I did want her to work, but she just.
You need to give some of us some of the spare counter gear. You can build all these like fun units. You're just trying stuff out. The gear is actually good. Okay. Summer Break Charlotte, Jay.
I think this unit needs a little bit of a buff. There is one person in particular that used this unit really well.
Okay.
He's a tank down player. His name's Sparrow.
Shout out to Sparrow.
And, yeah, so if you ever go against Sparrow, I'm gonna get a little like shout out, right? Like you just ban his Aros and then he kind of falls out, right? Because he centers his builds around 2 DPS drafts.
Yeah, you mentioned that with the Aros, yep.
Yeah, with the Aros. So he would have Symbol of Unity on instead of Mature Sunglasses, and then he'd have like a Trozet Aros, and then like maybe a hand guy or something like that, and then 2 DPS.
Okay.
And then he would just go to town with this Summer Break Charlotte. But I didn't have a draft around Summer Charlotte.
But hey, you got her gear, dude. That's your account. You got everything, at least on usable gear, if you do need to bust them out.
Yeah, so I do think that she's okay. She does her job, right? But I just think that her having like a base attack of 900, right? And then like if you want to build speed, you have to give up your bulk or your damage, right? Like she just needs way too much, in my opinion.
Okay. Then I think I'm with you for a similar, like, I think then she kind of falls in line with LQC for me. I'd be afraid for her to get too much. I think she's like almost good enough, but yeah, I could see her getting a little love. Bellion. We got a counter 0 speed, which is, pretty typical nowadays on immunity.
Yeah, so I would pick this unit if they stole my Milim on my 3rd pick, right? I noticed some people started picking Milim 3rd picks as much as I did, right? Mm-hmm. So I would pick Bellion to try to counter the Milim. Obviously it works sometimes, obviously it doesn't. I've won matchups with and without Bellions, right?
Sure. Not much to say about this though. Most people know what she does, right? Your build is pretty standard. I like it. Although wait, Jeremy, for the 0 speed, a little low on health, no?
Yeah, I don't really prior this unit because like Lua or like C Lilius, something like that, like they're just gonna pre-ban it, right? Everyone hates this unit, right?
I feel like that's your mentality in a few things. It's like the Soli, right? The stats don't need to be perfect. If it's usually they're gonna need to ban it, or if it gets through, it'll work.
She does her job, right? Like,
sure.
You don't need like perfect gear on every single unit.
Yeah, we need that in a sound clip, and we need to tell that to all the people complaining about gear, man. You don't need perfect gear. All right, it helps though. Fire Charlotte, you said you weren't a fan of too much.
No, you just died a shoe. This gear. I did not pick Charlotte, and if I did pick Charlotte, I probably died because they had a shoe. It just doesn't work. She doesn't have good gear
real quick. Okay, yeah. We'll move on from this. Nada doesn't get the Jpham seal of approval. Cartusia, Fat Cat, counter set.
This is more of MLM. It's for cleavers here.
Sure. Did you actually pick him at all, like on the Legend Clan?
Not on my Legend Clan. It was more of a for
fun.
Yeah.
I feel like no matter what though, right? No matter like if you're on that RNG game, if you kind of just run out of options, he can still do something, yeah? Like you never know. He'll still maybe sometimes win you a match. Cashberry.
Okay, yeah. Cashberry loves this unit.
What's up, Cashberry? All right.
I think everyone remembers the was it E7WC or the CCB?
It was the CCB. I was casting that one.
Dodge, right?
Yeah, it was Elmage versus Lovely Rengar. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty pog, dude.
That was a fight to.
All right. Speaking of furs, we got Armin. Jeremy, what's your thoughts on cat ears and cat units?
Cats units in general, they're okay, right? I used to pick Rin a lot, right? I used to.
You guys kind of a fan. What about Green Armin in general as a unit?
She needs to pop off if she wants to work as a unit.
Sure.
But when Zeo first came out, I used to pick her, because she mitigates single target damage, right?
Yep.
And then you also have your tank, which also mitigates damage through Arias, right?
Yep.
So you would basically almost negate, like you would get hit by like a Zeo S3, and then you'd probably be like 80% HP, and depending if you had like a barrier or not.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just there to mitigate damage and then do big counter damage.
But you said she needs to pop off to like actually work, right? And That's my findings too. A lot of times she just let me down too many times where she didn't quite do enough. She'll either be asleep, but yeah, I think your finding is pretty similar.
Yeah. So people can opt to build FRES on this unit, but I think it's just way too much. Right? You need a lot of defense for her to actually do damage, and you also need your crit damage. Right?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So I just think ER is kind of hard to build on her. I think it's almost next to impossible actually to build ER on this unit with good damage.
All right.
Because if you're not killing the cleave units, right, then you're just gonna get run over by them.
Yeah. Especially at 117 speed. Next up is the Rem. So Jeremy, a few people were busting this out. I heard versus like strays. Did you try this unit at all end season?
Strays, I would have picked her into strays if he didn't get the buff, right? Everyone remembers the strays buff.
Yeah,
right?
totally didn't need it.
Buff.
Yeah, he can't get countered anymore.
I think that was a huge punch to Rem. You would usually pick Rem into strays, right? Because like, ooh, right, you get the counter almost guaranteed. You get the demon mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now you can't do that, and then they would have like a Watcher Shuri to follow up before the strays, and then they just one tap the Rem, like, and then you just die.
You didn't really pick her too much.
I didn't pick her way too much. I only really picked her if the enemy had like low damage and stuff like that.
Okay, fair enough. I think now we're kind of near the end of the road. No, a lot of these units don't seem like your style too much. Sid on
Sid's an Expo unit.
Expo unit.
Sure. I think that's most of my units.
Okay. Sure. I'm just scrolling through. Jeremy, stop me if there's any other unit you want to MLM us on or just talk about. Anything here? The Tywin? Rin. Yeah, you did mention the... Wait, did I skip her? Yeah, here she go. Wait, Jeremy, you didn't even give her Reforge gear, though.
Yeah, she doesn't have the best gears, right? But I do hold a special place in my heart for this unit. Right?
Sure.
Her S3 is kind of ridiculous if you think about it, right? A 3-turn 2 random buffs on your team, plus a cleanse with her EE, right? And then you can get evasion, you can get gab, right? You get crit damage buff, right? That's kind of insane. But yeah.
No, I agree. I feel like she's never been in the meta, but the players that specialize in Rin, yeah, I've seen her win some matches against like meta comps for sure. But beyond the Rin, Jeremy, I think that's about it. For the
that should be it. Oh, you can go to the Jpham real quick. I did have a little MLM in my mind, but it just didn't work out.
Okay.
Or it didn't work out. I just didn't have time to buid her, right?
The counter Jpham.
So I would try to pair this with Death Dealer Ray because it extend. But that's just about it.
Okay. All right, well, Jeremy, stick around. YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Jeremy, anything we need to plug? Do you stream or YouTube at all? Anything like that?
I don't do streams, or I wanted to stream, but I just don't have time for it. Like I'm in college. Right?
Well, you can always hit me up if you do plan. Anything you want to tell the people, the YouTube, because we're gonna hang out a little more. But yeah, any last words? Relatable gear. Don't need to worry about too much about stats, right, Jeremy? Banshee gamers can still work. Build specific units for what you need. Don't worry about what people say. We had a lot of Jeremy's boys in chat talking up a storm. But yeah, I very much enjoyed it. Jeremy, take us home. Any last words?
I would just say, if you're new to this game or anything like that, just take your time. Like, play what you want at first, right? And if you want to get into RTA, you can, right? Like, you don't have to, just ease yourself in. Don't force yourself to do anything that you don't want to play, right? That just makes the game unenjoyable, right? And then obviously play what you want to play, right? If you find that you want to play this unit, then try to find a draft around it, right? Like, my drafts usually centered around Destina, and so I've built a team around Destina. And then you have to have your backups and all that stuff, right? Just in case they target ban you once you get up there.
I love it. All right. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me. Let's do a quick AMA with chat. Yeah, I actually want to ask you a few other questions. You guys need to stop by the Twitch if you want to do like the post review where we really get to know Jpham. But thank you for joining me, brother. It's been a pleasure. YouTube, peace out, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Later, guys.